in this one. He went inside, outside, he weighed it up, he looked for the gap, and he burst through it. I think he's done it! What a finish! Unbelievable!
Important meeting for Poole tonight. Neil, Leicester Lions are in town. They're a strong side this year. It's going to be a big battle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. They've got Chris Harris guesting for them tonight, and we know how Chris goes round Wimborne Road. So yes, it's going to be a tough one for us tonight. That's for sure.
Return of Hans Andersen.
Yeah, obviously Hans back here, prove a point. Kyle Newman. So it's a lot of guys out there going to be there to prove a point, or here to prove a point.
Now, obviously, social media has been pretty active after the other night. First of all, the team did a great performance up at Wolverhampton, so you must be really happy with how they performed.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was obviously very disappointed what happened in Heat 15, with Brady touching the tapes and then Linus coming back into the pits. But there's a bit of a grey area there, because obviously at Wolverhampton they've got no pit gate. So, yeah, Poole, if that happened, they wouldn't be allowed in. But I'm led to believe, I've been reading the rule book, and apparently if it's nobody's excluded, they have to go back round, but if somebody's excluded, they can come back in. So, but it's done now, sadly. But yeah, it's whether it was my fault for not telling Linus, because I perhaps assumed that that ruling applied to the whole Speedway world, which obviously found out it doesn't. But no, social media, I think it's got its goods and its bads. I think people are entitled to their opinion, as we are. But you have to remember that the riders read it as well. And when things are said about the riders, I mean, I don't care about myself. They can say what they want. I'm a manager. I'm not putting my life on the line every week. These boys are, and they're doing it because they love it. But it is a dangerous sport, and people need to realise that.
Yeah, it's tough when they read some of those comments. They're real people. They're not just here for the night. They got a life to lead. They got family and friends as well, and they've got confidence which they need to bring into their racing. It's important.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, back in the day, you never had that. You had a bad meeting, you went home and you came back next week. But now it's all out there. Your dirty washing's out for everybody to see. And as I say, they're human and they have feelings. And particularly when you're having a bad time, it's very difficult. The last thing you want to see is people slagging you off. When as a rider, you're always trying your best. No, whether you score 1 point or 12, you're trying your best. And things just don't work out. You can't make the starts. Things just don't work out. And people have to realise that. It's easy to be critical sat in the stands, but as a rider, it's a very difficult thing.
Okay, we can hear One Direction on the tannoy there, and let's hope they've got One Direction tonight, and that's up the table. Have a good night, Neil. Thanks ever so much for your time.
Cheers, thanks. Bye.
Hans Andersen back here at Poole, but for the away side. But you do love this track. You had a great year last year, and you're having a great year this year.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. I got many good memories of this place. This is my first club in the UK, and it's actually the club I'd raced for most seasons, believe it or not. So yeah, it's nice to be back. I was back here 3 weeks ago as well, and I always enjoy coming back, seeing old friends and sponsors, and even though it's a long time ago I started riding in England, it's still the same people, and it's just nice to catch up.
Well, we were recording you in the Premier League Riders' Championship. Good podium finish there as well.
Yeah, third was all right. I was in the picture. The problem is, it's a meeting I never won. I've always got to the final and got on the podium various times, but it's a meeting I really want to win. So it would have been nice to win it, but fair play, the champ won it.
But it was great racing and good overtaking and undertaking as well. It was good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good night. I thought the racing was good, like you said, and everyone put on a good show, and it came down to the final, and it was a good race. But like I said, the champ won it. So all in all, I was just happy to be back here and do some laps and win a few races.
So now you are back tonight with Leicester. Team doing very well this year. Started the season well. Unfortunate about Martin Vashlik, of course. Good team. Good team.
Yeah, the team was all right. When I spoke to them in the winter, it was one of the things I asked who they want to sign, because one thing is going to a team if you know you're not competitive, because it affects you as a rider if you keep losing. And you know, on paper it seemed a very, very good team with the prospect of making a playoff, and so far it's been pretty good. Unfortunately, Martin got injured. We got a good replacement in bringing Kenneth back into the team, but you know, it's not easy. Everywhere is tough these days, but like I said, we've had a good start to the season, but we have a lot of away meetings as well.
Now, at the beginning of the interview, you were talking about your friends and sponsors down here. Obviously, Meridian Lifts, they've been with you a long time now. It's great to be able to come back, see your sponsors and your friends, and have them still supporting you over all this time as well.
Yeah, it's nice, and I must be doing something right with people still supporting me through all these years. So, like you said, it's nice to. I've come down very early today to see friends and meet up with sponsors before, and you know, it's just nice to have the opportunity not to go and ride on a nice track, but also to meet up with friends.
I think they call it being genuine. You keep your friends and your sponsors and so on as well. So have a good night, Hans. Stay safe, ride fast. We'll catch you later.
Thank you. I'll do my best.
With Kacper, Woryna before the meeting tonight. Great meeting at Wolverhampton the other night. You must be pleased with your performance.
Yeah, of course I was pleased. I finally scored double figures, and that was really boosting my confidence, of course, because I was feeling really good on this track. Of course I made a couple of mistakes. I could have done more points, but overall I think it was alright, and I really enjoyed that night.
It's not an easy track to go to, is it, Wolverhampton? It must be very different from those Polish tracks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like pretty tight, and you got to think more with your throttle than your and your brain, of course. But I've been there before, a couple of times in 2016, and not so early ago, like a couple of weeks ago, and I took that advantage, and was pleased with the racing.
Now, looking forward to tonight then. Leicester Lions in town, Hans Andersen coming back, so it's going to be a tough night.
Yeah, of course. As usual, another match, another tough opponent, but we're here to win. And of course, I had a huge crash yesterday, and I'm feeling a bit stiff and second-handed. But hopefully, hopefully I'll be all right, because I was racing later on that night. A bit bruised up, but I hope I can race today. Good.
Have a good night, stay safe, ride fast, and hopefully your injuries will get better soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We are in the pits with the referee tonight, Graham Reeve. Graham, meeting now has been called off, is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. I arrived here at 10 o'clock this morning, and Glyn was just in the process of removing a lot of water and a lot of slurry off the track. He's been working quite hard since then to try and get it smooth and workable, but he's got it into a state where we can't afford to race on it. We've got dry patches, we've got some ridges, we've got a lot of patchy, spongy material out there, and unfortunately it's not just in one place that you could sort of rip it out and take it away. It's part way across most of the track, so it's not just into the turns, it's in different places. And of course the problem these days is they can't always see where they might know it's there, but it's avoiding it. And you know, we've got experienced riders out there, but I just cannot take the risk, because I don't think if we started the meeting, we wouldn't get more than a quarter of a lap, I guess. And the other thing is we've got the weather now. I think you can feel it yourself. It's very humid, and that's not helping us either, because that's keeping the moisture in there where we don't want it, because that's where it's so spongy and it's like a bit of a trampoline.
You've been talking to the riders out there.
I've been talking to the riders, I've been talking to Glyn Taylor to see if there's anything he can do, and unfortunately there isn't, because the base is too close to the problem. So if he did anything at all and he had the equipment to get out there, he'd wreck the base of the track as well. So
it's a shame, but it does happen in Speedway. It is frustrating, but it's frustrating for everybody.
But safety comes first, and I really do believe it is a safety issue today. They could ride on it, but they can't race.
Thanks ever so much for your time, Graham.
Okay, thank you very much.
Paul, from a rider's perspective, you've been out on that track, you've looked at the track. What's your thoughts on it?
Would have been really hard work. I think if you're on your own, you could ride around, but with 4 riders on the track, it would have been really difficult, and just in the end a little bit too dangerous, to be honest.
Correct decision?
I think so. You know, we want to race. We don't want to just try and get round, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. So the right decision today, I think.
A lot of you riders have travelled a long way to get here, but after you travelling and seeing the track and still saying, yeah, you know what, it's the right decision, and it's unfortunate, at least the fans know that it is truthful and genuine, and it's just one of those things with this sport.
Sometimes you can't help it. I think there was a lot of moisture on the track yesterday, and you can't stop that, you know. And I think a lot of water got in and just made it far too soft in places, and it would not have been raceable today. Someone would have probably got pretty hurt. So right decision, although it's not a very good decision. You know, we've all travelled a long way, but it was definitely the right decision.
Okay, well, have a safe trip home, and thank you for your time.
No problem. Cheers, guys.